What's going on? Welcome to the next module. Today we're going to talk about framing. And so, what is framing? I'm going to tell you exactly what it is and how you can use it in your persuasion attempts. But before I do, I want to tell you a story. So there's a Chinese restaurant that opened up across the street from where my mom lives, and my mom told us that it was really good. Like she told me and my girlfriend that the restaurant was super good, and we got to go try it out. And the food is delicious, and all this kind of stuff. It's really clean, all that good stuff. So my girlfriend and I go and try it out, and the food is pretty good. You know what I mean? It wasn't amazing, but the food was good. But we went there with the frame of like this was going to be amazing food, right? That's how we walked into the restaurant, and so we had a certain experience based around our expectation. And then, well, when we went there though that day, it wasn't very busy, right? It wasn't very busy. Um, so it was like us and like one other group of people in there, and that was our experience. And so last Friday, I have something to do at 7 p.m. and my mom invites me to dinner at 5:30 p.m. And I'm like, okay, cool. Where can we go that's going to be quick? And it was a Friday night, so normally on Friday nights, all of the restaurants near us are just packed. They got wait lines. You got to wait 30, 45 minutes to get in and eat. I live in the suburbs, so you know how it is. Um, but I was like, oh, that Chinese restaurant that we went to, it wasn't super busy, so maybe we can go check that out, right? So we went over to the Chinese restaurant, and I had a hour and 20 minutes to eat, right? Because where I was going, it would only take me 10 minutes to get there. And so we go, and there's only one guy working, like in terms of being a waiter and taking payments and doing all that stuff. There's only one guy working, and so he comes over, gives us the menus, and then we don't see him for another 20 minutes before he comes and takes his our drink order, right? And then to make a long story short, I ended up having to get my food to go because we didn't even get the food coming out until like 6:48, right? So I had to be somewhere at 7. Food comes out at 6:48, and that whole experience, like I'm almost to a point where I'm like I would never go to that restaurant again. And why? Because I went in with the frame of believing that this was going to be a faster experience than other restaurants, right? So what is framing? From that story that I just told you guys. Well, framing is the way that you put the view of something in someone's mind. So a simpler way of stating that, it's the way that you make other people see the image, right? It's the frame that you let people see it through. So for example, if I put this frame on this picture, it makes it look one way. If I put like a more extravagant, old school, Victorian frame, it makes it look a different way, right? So framing is the way in which we help people to see what it is that we're going to talk about or look at or speak about. And so basically it's a basic structure that underlies or supports a system, concept, or text. So underlies or supports. And so I'm going to give you some practical examples of how frames work and how you can use them. Well, the very simple ones are kind of like my mom said, hey, you got to try out this restaurant. The food is delicious and it's super clean, right? That's a frame that when I walk into that restaurant, I have the belief, I'm walking in with a lens through a vision, seeing that this restaurant is clean and the food is good, right? It works with everything. If you look at this picture of me and one person told you, hey, this is Coach AJ Liu. Coach AJ Liu is an awesome guy, man. He works with kids. He's a football coach. He owns his own business. He's dedicated to helping people. He puts out a ton of valuable videos, and he really is a good guy, and he helps people out, right? And then you look at this picture and you see me, and then if you see me in the street, you're gonna be like, "Yo, man, I saw you somewhere. Yeah, I saw you, and this person said that you were awesome and you're really cool. Nice to meet you." Right? You'd have one type of interaction with me, one type of engagement. And then on the flip side, if someone showed you this picture and said, "Yo, man, this dude's a douchebag. All he does is care about himself. He doesn't help people. He doesn't do anything for anyone else. He's just selfish." Da 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 da, right? And says all that stuff, and then you see me walking down the street, you have a completely different frame. You might even give me like a dirty look because of the frame that I was put in. Okay, so what does this have to do with persuasion? Well, there's something called persuasion, right? And persuasion is what happens before your persuasion attempt. And so persuasion is basically setting the frame in which the rest of the engagement is going to pertain. So, like in this course, if in today's lesson, if I said, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. So, number one, I'm going to tell you what a frame is. Number two, I'm going to give you some examples of how to use frames, and number three, I'm going to recap so you know exactly how to use frames for your personal business. So what I just did is I just set a frame for how this engagement is going to go, and so as we go through, that's what you're judging it based on, is if I hit those points. And so, like, another example is if I said, say we were talking about a movie, right? A movie that let's say like The Greatest Showman, right? About I forget the guy's name, but the greatest entrepreneur ever, right? So if I tell you, hey, this movie is going to show you how to be persistent, and then we go and watch the movie, and by the end of the movie, you're not judging the movie based on the fact that it was a good movie, or the music was good, or the acting was good, or the characters were good. The only thing you're judging it based off of is if it showed you how to be persistent. Now, if I came in and said, yo, this is one of the most amazing movies I've ever seen, like everything is amazing about it, you're gonna fall in love with it, and you go in and you watch the movie through that frame, you're gonna have a different experience than if I told you this is gonna show you how to be persistent, right? So basically, framing is how you present what it is that you're going to talk about. And there's a couple ways that you can do this. One of them is exactly what I just said, right? You pre-frame. You tell people, hey, this is what it's going to do. This is how it's going to work. This is what it's going to look like. And now when they're judging it, they're judging it based on what you said in the first place. The other way to do this is what's called future pacing. And future pacing is when you give people something to look forward to in the future, right? So, for example, if I said, "Are you guys getting this?" So, if I said to you, "Hey, can you imagine what it's going to be like when you've mastered this stuff, right? Can you, like, a year from now, when you're walking down the street and you see someone that can use your product or service, you're going to be able to just walk right up to them and literally get them to buy. You're going to be able to walk right up to them and literally get them to buy anything because of these powers, right? Can you see how powerful this is? Like, imagine what it's going to be like 4 years from now, 5 years from now, when you've actually mastered this stuff and you are one of the most persuasive people on the planet. Imagine how much money you're going to make. Imagine how much influence you're going to have, right? So what I just did there, that's called future pacing. I'm taking your mind and I'm putting it in a place in the future, referring to what I'm selling or what I'm going through right now, talking about the effect that's going to have on the future version of yourself. That's called future pacing, and that's another form of framing. And so, how can you use these in your business? Well, it's very simple. When you're setting things up, or when you're first starting a conversation with someone, tell them what to expect or tell them what to judge you based off of, right? If you tell people, I'm going to show you exactly how you can get more customers with your business, and then you go into your sales presentation, the only thing they're judging you off of is if you showed them how to get more customers for their business. Not how great your PowerPoint was, not how good the presentation was, only if you did what you said you were going to do. And then how can you future pace? While you're going through your presentation, you keep saying stuff like, yeah, can you see how like a year from now, after doing this strategy, it's gonna help you increase by this much percentage, right? By 30% over the course of the next year. Can you see, can you imagine, can you picture, right? Using all of those words are all framing. Okay, so with that, hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you on the next one.